Hello and welcome to another episode of the Leadership Lens, where we speak with global leaders on what's trending in the ecosystem. Today we have with us Martje Abeldt, who is the CEO of RevX. Welcome, Martje. It's great to have you on the Leadership Lens.
Hi, Shanae. Great having you here as well.
So let me tell you a little bit about Martje before we start the interview. So Martje, I've been reading your bio and it says that you are a multilingual technophile and an expert in mobile strategy, marketing, and technology. So Martje has led and inspired multinational teams in the fields of adtech, IT, mobile, high-end consumer goods, and SaaS for over 20 years. With his vast experience and unique expertise and a coherent vision for the industry, Martje is a key figure in the mobile programmatic sector. Very important space right now, and with adtech coming up in a couple of weeks, Martje, I'd love to pick your brains on some of the things around mobile and programmatic and how it's going on in India. Welcome once again.
Yes, thanks for having me, Shanae. I'm glad to contribute to this session and to this program. And thanks also for introducing me. What's there maybe to add to the introduction? I've been in the industry for a bit more than 10 years. I actually came from other sectors into the digital space, pretty much when programmatic started to rise, basically, and was just coming off from maybe more static systems. And then I think programmatic is just expanding into a lot of other channels, like we now see the rise of CTV, which is basically another programmatic channel. So it's been an amazing journey. I've been on the supply side, in mobile data, on the DSP side, and every time when I was allowed to enter a new space, I've been learning a lot from everyone in the industry. And at the same time, I try to give back equally in terms of, like, as you said, pick my brain, contributing to sessions and to thought leadership as well, to make sure that we can also thrive in the future.
Awesome. I think mobile is, while you're right that programmatic is going into other spaces other than just your desktop and your mobile, I think is the most highly used device when it comes to India, while CTV penetration is still into your urban tier 1 cities. And, not everyone has a desktop or a laptop, but mobile penetration is growing by leaps and bounds in India. What are your thoughts on this? How is the mobile programmatic landscape shaping up in India?
Right. So maybe to take a step back, so mobile really touches our origins. Affle is soon celebrating in its 19th birthday and has always been in mobile advertising. So it's deeply ingrained in the topic of mobile, even when the smartphone was not still there. RevX, now part of the Affle group, is also specialized on mobile. So as a group, we contribute to CPCU, which means we're driving conversions per unique user. So we're really looking at performance. What we want to do is we want to make sure that any advertiser that is giving us budget has a positive return and drives the maximum conversions for this budget. So it's really around performance and transparency of that performance as well. And then when we think about India and the programmatic landscape, just looking at the market development is amazing. I think it's a logic in itself. When we look at the landscape, the number of people that are onboarding on different type of smartphones, now going back into the origins of mobile where we didn't have smartphones, I think there's a lot of people in India that are consumers in India that are still not on the smartphone, that are still onboarding the smartphone. So we will expect a lot of growth from there when we think about mobile advertising, which is much more powerful on a smartphone, of course, than on a non-smartphone mobile device. And then if we just look at the numbers, I mean, in 2020 until today, the mobile ad spend has more than doubled. So also in terms of the share of the spend in the digital advertising landscape, it's gone up from somewhere around 50 to 75, 78%, and it's going to increase, or it's projected to increase further even, despite of the fact that now we have other channels come into place like CTV, which is experiencing also rising spends. So mobile continues to be extremely important. It's really where we spend on the go as we move as individuals throughout our day. Throughout our day, we are really spending a lot of time on mobile. We're doing increasingly more and more there. And this is not bound to change anytime soon. So let's say if we look at last year's mobile advertising spend, which is I think was around $7 billion US, coming up from 2020 where it was maybe $4 to $5 billion. We're looking to hit $10 billion in mobile ad spend in India anytime soon. Maybe not this year, but certainly in 2025. So it continues to be an extremely vibrant and market full of potential.
Absolutely. I mean, that's the device that's with us like all the time, right? So you're right, maximum time spent is there, and definitely maximum growth with the, you know, the device costs coming down, internet costs coming down. All of this is looking quite interesting.
Yeah.
Along similar lines, Martje, there is a global interest that we've seen in the India market. The last 5 years, India is kind of, you know, outshining a lot of other countries. And for Affle, for RevX, this is home ground, right? So
Correct.
how do you kind of stand out for global competition when you're talking from your home market?
Thank you for mentioning this. So Affle is at home in India. RevX was born in Bangalore, so we're deeply ingrained in the market and deeply committed as well to make anything we do there successful for our clients and of course for our group. As you said, like the market has been outshining other markets in terms of dynamics. In terms of absolute numbers, of course, there's still room to catch up to other large markets. That's normal. I mean, if you look at the CPM prices in different geos, of course, the CPM price in India is much lower than the CPM price, for example, as in the US, no? But just from the potential, if you see the number of consumers online there, that's really where we want to tap in also into in the future. If we think about how we deploy ourselves, so first of all, India is highly strategic, we're highly committed, it's home ground, but then we don't only look at it from the lens of, let's say, any other platform and network that comes into India and says, I'm now accessing programmatic supply in India and I'm just running ads. We're looking at it from all types of angles, meaning what is the programmatic supply? What is publisher supply? What is OEM supply? So we have a lot of very strategic collaborations also with the globally leading device manufacturers that have enabled a lot of new inventory types on their devices. So we need to see really where and how can we touch users meaningfully. And the inventory types that we have out there are just very, very diverse, especially in India. And this is really what we're dealing with on group level, that we have specialists within the group that can cater to each of these, let's say, challenges or types of segments that we have there in the market. And this is how we are also in the future, we'll be able to master market and company growth.
Wonderful. I think we have a lot of potential that is being seen right now, and Affle and RevX are truly, you know, ready for this opportunity that is lying ahead. So in an evolving programmatic landscape, like you said, there are multiple formats, multiple devices, and it's coming to a level with new technologies coming in, it's coming to a level where this is almost endless, right? So how is RevX kind of preparing for this evolving landscape that the India market is showcasing?
Right. So as a specialist, so this is maybe also important to mention, we have certainly specializations in what we do, because whatever we do, we try to be the best or to deliver the best outcome to our clients. RevX specializes on programmatic advertising, encompassing app retargeting and programmatic UA. We are very focused on giving transparency to our advertisers, because in the digital ecosystem, of course, there are also some bad players. There's still fraud in the system, and it's very important that we combat and eliminate this fraud. And we do this, of course, through our proprietary systems, benchmarking external platforms that can help us as well to prevent fraud and giving transparency to our advertisers. So that per se is very, very important. And as a app retargeting and programmatic UA platform, what we do is we drive installs. So we are bringing users onto not the users, but the applications onto the devices. And we make sure that the advertisers and owners of these devices can drive ROAS, meaning they can meaningfully engage with their audiences, make sure that the audiences know about the offers that are up there, and basically ensure that there's a positive outcome within this cycle, basically, of information, advertising, proposing, making a proposition, and then basically closing a deal with the consumer. So when we think about the specialization, we are certainly leading in this space. When we think about other players that have tried to come to India, I think many don't understand what is needed basically to be successful in India. We need to bring in the technology. We need to constantly evolve. None of our clients is sitting idle. Everybody is moving, is very dynamic, is challenging the status quo, and we challenge it together with them. And then you have to provide service because of that. So technology, excellency in R&D, as well as top-notch service come together to basically cater to our clients' needs. And this is something that is very difficult to do if you come from other markets, which just have a different landscape, and you do not have the commitment and the assets and organization in place to actually make it happen. Then when we think about mobile, so we're actually not thinking just about mobile, because then it's we're thinking about this mobile screen, and there's so many mobile screens now. There's like the smaller smartphone, and the little bigger smartphone, and the intermediate, not yet tablet, but still smartphone, and then there's the tablet. And then we're always talking internally about the CTV being sort of like a larger tablet that you're not anymore carrying with you, so it's not so mobile, no? But we're trying to think across boundaries to make sure that, again, we are there where we can touch our users, basically connect advertisers with consumers, making sure that meaningful messaging can happen. And it can happen on all these screens nowadays. There's also digital out of home, but digital out of home is not maybe yet that personalized. It's on the way. There are some technical challenges to that, to making it as personalized, but I think CTV is pretty much getting there. So that's very, very exciting as well. No?
Sure. So you're saying that with the diversity of screens, with the diversity of population and behavior that we see in India, we'll still need a lot of personalization and a lot of specialization that RevX provides. And this becomes very important. So a jack of all trades kind of approach is not helping, even if we see so much diversity in the Indian landscape, right?
Yes. So the programmatic in its core means automation. So it came up because from ancient ad server systems, so there would be a sales force selling the inventory, and then somebody internally would go in and put it into a delivery system, and then it would just deliver. And it would mostly be delivering on a fixed price. So the idea of programmatic is really to automate all of this flow of bringing buyers and sellers together, and also to introduce dynamic pricing, which is the auction bidding. So while programmatic is connected in our minds to this RTB ecosystem, programmatic in itself means automation. So we're all looking for automation. At the same time, we have a very diverse landscape of advertisers, brands, apps. Basically, we look into our phones, we go into the App Store, the Play Store, we see so many apps, so many genres, and each of these apps is its own product with its own user journey and value propositions along the way. So if you try to, from a technology standpoint, to automate this, there are certain things that you can automate, but then all of these clients will have some individual needs. They will say, I need to impact users on this path of the user journey because that's actually where they drop off. That's where I lose them. That might be in a completely different sector. Some apps are losing users very early after the install, no registration, no real engagement at the beginning, no onboarding, for example, things like that, no first-time conversion, no experience of the first time buying, for example, where also you need to enter maybe payment details, delivery address, and so on, and then experience the success of something reaching your home. So there are certain thresholds, but some of these thresholds, they are actually further down in the user journey. So automation of all of these, covering all of these needs through automation is very difficult to do. So when you look into the Luma landscape, you see so many vendors, so many DSPs, so many platforms, so on, and all of them live there because they are specializing and catering to some segments in the market. No, I think what we do is we try to marry both of the best worlds. I mean, we try to automate, but we also try to see, is there a need? Is there a sufficiently large need that we need to cater to? Or we need to maybe to create a new team for that, or ensure that our account management and campaign management teams are trained to basically ensure that the client receives what they need to receive. And this is what I mean with this very dynamic and vibrant environment, which is constantly challenging the status quo. And I mean, we're challenging it with our clients together and trying to get the best out of this collaboration.
Interesting times to live in. So Martje, we've spoken about programmatic, but let's take a step back from it and let's talk about adtech in general. And there is a lot of changes happening. There are a lot of trends coming up. What are your top trends for 2024, and how do you see them kind of impacting advertisers? So there, a couple of years back, I remember there was the metaverse, and then there is Gen AI, and then there is Sora, and there is, every year has like, something very interesting being thrown at us. What are your top trends and where do you see the impact happening?
Yeah, that's a good question. And you probably expect me to say now Gen AI. I'll say it. It's certainly a top trend. So there's all these, we cannot clearly say whether they've failed, but there are all these trends that came up now, the blockchain and the this and the that and the crypto and so on. And I mean, everything is somewhat still there. Now, it's not that much of a hype. And I think hype is a good way how to describe Gen AI at the moment, which doesn't mean it doesn't have a value proposition, but we need to be very surgical in terms of identifying where it can add value and is it short-term, mid-term, long-term, because otherwise, and this is something I think we've seen before, companies get lost. They might get into the hype, they might get funding, they might grow, they might not deliver any value, and then everything goes down again. Now, I think this is not the way how we approach things at Affle or at RevX as well. I mean, we are monitoring the market. We ourselves have a strong R&D division. So that's why we have filed 15 patents in India recently around Gen AI, because we have strong competencies. That's also something that along the 19 years that Affle is on the market has always been a thread throughout our history that we are focusing on technology that matters. But we need to distinguish what matters. And this is where we put our resources. When we identify that we have a meaningful outcome to drive and it requires the necessary R&D, that's where we invest now. So maybe now speaking about Gen AI, I think there's a lot of noise out there. At the moment, I think what is clear at the moment is that it helps us in certain areas where I need to produce text output or an image output. When it comes to text output, maybe to use cases where we are using also Gen AI in our day-to-day, yes, we use it in our engineering team, for example. It helps us maybe to generate code faster. Of course, we still need to check the code, otherwise something that we don't want to happen that happens. Yeah. So there's always some due diligence required, making sure that the output is valid. Yeah. Or let's say I'm a marketer and I need some ideas how to write something, or I want to write something standard faster. Yeah. So imagine there's a blog article giving some advice to marketers about how to do something. Part of this, which is maybe explanatory, can be written with some help. Yeah. And some other things are then brought in based on very specific expertise, because what the Gen AI platforms usually do is they generate an output from a broader mass of information now. So very specific expertise is not available there. That's exactly where we come in then and bring that expertise to light. Or when we think about images, of course, one big use case is, okay, creating these images, creating videos, etc., doing that faster. Given that we are in the advertising space where we're putting ads out, yeah, this sounds extremely tempting, but we need to be careful there as well, because what can we automate? What can we not automate? We wouldn't be able to automate the delivery of ads via Gen AI for two reasons. First of all, I don't know what's going to be shown to you. Secondly, the processing power and the energy and everything, I mean, it takes too long. We are responding in less than 20 milliseconds to a bid request. So I cannot produce any images in that short period of time. So again, where this helps is in getting ideas and helping the creative teams basically to be creative faster, because they can visualize their ideas maybe quicker. And this is happening on our end. This is, of course, also happening on the end of our advertisers, who are the ones that are determining what type of messaging we should put out to their users. No? So this is, I think, at the moment, like a few good use cases, basically. It makes us more efficient. The efficiency helps us to free resources to do more somewhere else. I think that's how we generate ROI. I think we are still looking for maybe use cases where Gen AI could help us to proactively generate revenue, which is a different challenge. And I think this is something that many companies are looking at the moment, but I haven't seen yet a product that went to market and is already monetizing on its own. Yeah.
Sure. So Gen AI basically is maybe a way to improve human efficiencies, but it's still a machine that needs a human eye on it. It's not something that should be left to play alone, right?
Yes, I think that is what I'm trying to say. And I think this is what we have seen in all these Hollywood movies as well. Don't unleash it completely. Let's see how we can meaningfully put it to work. Yeah.
Absolutely. So another thing that I want to talk to you, Martje, is that Affle as a company is growing year on year, and there are so many lines of businesses that they've been adding, and I'm sure pretty soon they'll come up with a Gen AI company that they acquire. Like that's just a
Can't talk about it. Can't talk about it.
wish on my part, anyways. But with new acquisitions happening every year, how do you as a business head and LOB head coordinate with all these different businesses and kind of find efficiencies and find ways to work together that gives better experiences to your advertisers?
Understand, yeah. So my journey, I've been invited to join the Affle management to run the RevX platform. So my journey is a little bit different maybe than coming into the group as a founder of a platform that gets acquired. No? So I look at it, I try to look at it very logically. And I know that our mission is to drive value for advertisers, so based on our CPCU model. And when we think about an acquisition, for example, or how to come together for collaborations, it's always, the idea is always the same. How do we drive additional value? No? So in my full-time role now as CEO of RevX, of course, my first mission is make sure RevX can deliver against our goals. Yeah, because we have very clear goals in terms of what we need to deliver to our stakeholders. We have hundreds of thousands of stakeholders or shareholders that we cater to, and we take this responsibility very seriously. So then when you look at our annual reports, we're driving growth and we're driving profitability as well. So we can also give back to whoever has trusted us and has invested into our group. Now, when we think about collaboration, there are many areas where we can collaborate. Yeah. So when you look from the outside at the group and you see like mobile advertising platforms, DSPs, etc. In the core, of course, we stay committed to mobile advertising and to deliver towards our client. But then every time we do an acquisition, we cover an area that we haven't covered before, or that we haven't covered sufficiently before. So it adds to the total strength of the group. We have better global coverage, or we have better tech coverage, or we have a new segment that we can open up towards, new channels maybe, etc. So this is happening, and there are many areas of collaboration within tech where we make sure that expertise, let's say if somebody had experimented now in Gen AI, so there's a brand new, for example, yeah, or we're driving development towards sandbox. Of course, we don't do this in parallel four or five times. But we make sure that if there's an achievement done, an achievement being made in one business unit, we share this across, make sure we can all upgrade faster. Because those are all standards and qualifiers on how we need to work towards the market. The same, for example, when you think about marketing or even sales, I mean, we have very friendly relationships to everyone, and we make sure that we collaborate and drive value overall and ensure that everybody gets a helping hand where needed. No?
Wonderful. So thank you so much, Martje. I think you've shared some great insights and great learnings. And it's wonderful to see RevX and Affle grow every year. And we look forward to seeing you at adtech now.
Fantastic. Thanks for having me again, Shane. Lovely talking to you. Thank you.
Thank you.